Every year I get so excited when that first week of spring happens and it's 70 degrees and it's beautiful. And then I'm shocked when it's 40 degrees again. So, hence the big old sweater going on here today. So, I decided to change things up just a little bit. And instead of doing breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a sweet treat for under $100, which I still think is totally doable, I've decided to do some shorter ones where we're just going to do 6 easy and simple dinners, and it's under $60. And that means for a family of 4, this could easily come out to $2.50 or less per serving. So let's take a look at this. Now, I still think a $100 a week budget for a family of 4 is great. So even with these 6 dinners totaling $60, you would still have $40, which is plenty to use for breakfast and lunch and snacks and a sweet treat. And most of these dinners serve a good amount, so you could easily have tons of leftovers for lunches. Or if you're a bigger family, this would be more than enough for a family of 6, 7, depending on the appetite. So, and I recently did a poll in the Facebook group, and a lot of people said they don't even eat breakfast, or if they do eat something, it's super light, like toast or yogurt. So, hopefully, this style of meal plan can help a little bit more people. So, definitely let me know down in the comments whether or not you like this new style or not. And at the very end, I'll give you a better idea of why we're going with the little bit smaller menu size. So, anywho, let's really dig in. Okay, as you can see, our shopping list is a little bit smaller than normal, but that's okay. We're still using a bunch of what I consider to be like pantry staples, so you could very well get your total below what we did. We priced it out at the Super Walmart in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and it came out to $57.58. But make sure to check your pantry, your freezer, and your fridge because odds are good you already have some of these items like Italian seasoning, canola oil or olive oil. Maybe you already have rice or beef broth or even some pasta. You could totally get this under $50, no problem. Okay, the first dinner is going to be chicken cordon bleu with smashed potatoes and peas. Now, I love a good fancy dinner, but I don't always like the price tag that goes in with it. So, this is a really good way to get that chicken cordon bleu flavor without all the frou-frou and the 1,200 ingredients. So, this is going to take about 2 to 3 chicken breasts, and I usually just buy one big family size and then break it down. So, depending on how much meat or chicken that your family typically eats, you're going to have to kind of play this by ear. And these chicken breasts tend to be very large. So, what I do is I slice them in half, and then sometimes I go ahead and slice them again. So, one chicken breast easily equals 4 pieces of chicken. And then we're going to like smash these out and pound them out pretty thin and then wrap them with Swiss cheese and ham inside. So it's very easy. If you did, say, 2 chicken breasts, you could end up with 8 portions. And we always say that the the protein or the meat doesn't necessarily have to be the star of the show because you're not just going to have a plate of meat. You're also going to have the smashed potatoes, which are really, really filling. And then you're also going to have the peas. So you'll just have to kind of play it by ear of how that works for your family. The other great thing about this dinner is we're not going to use all of the Swiss cheese or the ham. So that could easily become a grilled cheese sandwich, a wrap. I mean, you could even use the cheese and the ham for some easy breakfast skillets, just scrambled eggs with that in there. So lots of options with that. Dinner number 2 is going to be a tomato feta pasta. You may have seen something similar on like TikTok or Pinterest, but they always use a whole block of feta cheese, which is normally about 6 to 8 ounces. Well, I've noticed over the years that a block of feta is actually way more expensive than the crumbles. So I tried it recently with the crumbles, and honestly, it came out just as good, even a little bit better than the block because I feel like the block because it's such a large mass when you bake it in the oven, parts of it get kind of dry and then it takes a while for it to fully melt. Whereas when you do the crumbles, it doesn't take as long. So what used to take 45 minutes only takes about 25 to 30 minutes, and that flavor is still really there. Now, I did do this as a meatless dinner because we're going to add the cannellini beans, which is white kidney beans. But if you really like meat, you could easily add so many different meats to this. You could add in some already cooked chicken, some sausage, ground turkey, or beef. And this is definitely one of those pastas that is so good the night of, and it's even a little bit better like for leftovers. And I love this sliced French bread from Walmart. So I used that this week, and this is so good with the French bread. So definitely try that. Now, I am still desperately seeking spring, and this pasta dish really screams spring to me. Okay, it's going to be a lemon asparagus pasta with chicken. It The end result is very light, but it's also very filling. Like, I don't know how you get both in there, but it just is. Now, this recipe calls for either olive oil or canola oil, so just use whichever one that you have. I did put canola oil on the list, and honestly, I used to use olive oil a ton, but the price just made it to where I didn't buy it as much. And so now I've pretty much switched over to canola, and you'll just have to do of what taste works best for you. But this is a super easy one. I mean, you basically just, it's almost like a one pot, except you're going to do the pasta in a separate pot, but you're going to make the sauce and cook the chicken all in one pot. And then this one, honestly, I kind of like it more room temperature or even cold, but I have weird taste buds, so that's totally up to you. Now, because it is still chilly, or at least to me, I did want to throw in not only a slow cooker recipe, but like a nice hearty stew. Because when I'm cold, I want something that just literally warms you up from the inside. So we're going to do a ground turkey stew. Now, I did this as a full pound of ground turkey. But if you're really only wanting enough servings for one night for 4 people, you could easily just do half a pound and then use the other half for another thing. But I figure we're really going for leftovers here. So we're going to take that pound of turkey, some carrots, some potatoes, onion. Here's my little secret though. A lot of times you have to have some type of acid to really bring up out all the flavors in a good hearty stew. So we're going to use one of those little 8-ounce cans of just plain tomato sauce. And it really adds just, it gives you that like melt in your mouth taste, and it's the acid in the tomatoes that do it. But it's not really like a super tomatoey taste. And then we're going to add some Worcestershire because for some reason ground turkey, I love it and I use it a lot, but it really kind of needs to bring that beefy flavor, and Worcestershire really brings it out. And then I'm usually just going with salt and pepper and whatever my favorite seasonings tend to be. You can get creative here. And then we're going to still have some French bread left over. So obviously you got to have some bread with your soup. You could also easily do some grilled cheese in this. And this is one of those stews that are just so hearty. And you can also throw in whatever leftovers you have. Maybe you have some peas from that night. Maybe you have some corn or green beans. I wouldn't add them in at the beginning because they are going to cook for a couple hours. So maybe right at the end, like the last half hour, just go ahead and throw in any other cooked vegetables you have. Now, the next one is a crispy baked chicken with onion rice and roasted carrots. Can't talk today. Anyhow, so this is just a very simple way to bread chicken and get that nice crunchiness. I've got it with saltine crackers, but I've also done it with pretzels. So either one is a great option. Now, the rice, I have seen a French onion rice that kind of goes nuts and people love it. And it's actually been around for a long time. And it calls for a can of French onion soup. But I've noticed that really only Campbell's carries it, and it's kind of expensive. It's like $1.50 a can. So I switched it out to be the onion soup mix. And honestly, it tastes much better to me because I'm not actually a huge onion fan. And I love the flavor, but I don't always like the texture of onions. So that's just me. If you really love onions, you could easily do it with the French onion soup, but it's just a very hearty rice. And then this one, it only uses 1 pack of the onion soup mix, so you're going to have another pack left over. And honestly, that is so good with some cream cheese and sour cream to make a dip for veggies. So that could easily be a snack, or it could be just a snacky type lunch. So this one does make a good amount of leftovers, and I think it's really good. But I always say store your cooked rice separate from your other items, just because it has the tendency to get kind of crunchy when you reheat it. But that's up to you. Now, this next dish has like a zillion different names for it. I see it most commonly called shasuka, which I hope I'm pronouncing that right. A lot of times it's called eggs in purgatory. My husband calls it eggs in hell, but there's a lot of different ways you can make this. And we have had this a lot for like a late breakfast or brunch, if you will. But it's becoming one of our favorites. And so we've had it for dinner a lot, and it works really well during the springtime because you want something filling, but not like super heavy. And basically, you're going to make like a chili, if you will. You're going to have your tomatoes and your peppers and your onions and your garlic and even some jalapeno if you want. And you're going to cook it until a lot of the liquid is gone. And then you're just going to make some holes, and you're going to drop an egg, cracked obviously, inside. And then I just put the pan on top and let it work its own little magic. And at first I thought this was such an odd combination because I don't usually mix tomatoes and eggs, but oh my God, it is delicious. And once again, with the bread. Now, we like to do it where we actually put the egg and all the mixture on top of the bread and put some cheese on it, but you tell me how you like this. Now, as always, I still have a free PDF where you can get all the recipes and the shopping list. There's a link below. So let me know what you think about the changes of doing the full breakfast, lunch, and dinner versus just doing the dinners. And if you've made it this far, one of the main reasons why I have switched over to this format is because now I can release 2 different types of meal plans. You may have seen that I just did um, it was a bunch of different pasta salads that were on the go dinners. And that got a lot of great response. So now I can do more on the go dinner styles plus this menu every week. So by making this one smaller, we can actually get more stuff out there. So as always, come find us over at Facebook. Just search Lodo Family. Join our Facebook group, which is Meal Planning for All, and I'll have links down below. And if you want to have early access to everything, you can always sign up for our email newsletter. We just send it out once a week on Fridays, and it lets you know basically all the stories of the week. We don't spam you or anything. So, anywho, I really want to see what you guys think. So, have a great week. Bye.